are now checking out
the Win Podcast,
where the everyday people
are the celebrities.
So let's get to know them. Who is Jerry?
Jerry?
Yeah.
Jerry is a simple-minded person that grew up in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, moved to the North Bronx, got chased by the Italians and the Irish and the Albanians. First Puerto Rican family in the neighborhood. You know, it was tough. Went to DeWitt Clinton High School. Got my high school diploma. Got left back 2 years in a row.
You got left back twice.
Yeah, because I didn't go to school.
What were you doing?
Hanging out. You know?
So what was that? How did that influence, who you are? Like, take us. What was the environment at that time in the Bronx?
The Bronx was about graffiti, breakdancing, nice hair, girls.
You still doing all that?
I'm still doing that. I still got good hair.
Yeah, I see
still got good hair. 52 years old with good hair.
Wow, that's great, man. You still got the moves too. I saw you dancing.
Yeah. So, no, to be real, I'm just a regular person like anybody else.
So, did your environment play a role into the field that you're in now, or that was something that you had a passion since young, or just trial and error through life? You said you just looked into it and wanted to jump in that.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know why? Because when I was a kid, I grew up, like I said, I grew up in a tough neighborhood. I grew up on 167th Street in Walton Avenue, right across the street from Morrisania Hospital. And I remember being a kid and playing stickball and curveball and stoop ball and Johnny on the Pony and Roundup and all that other crap as a kid, because there was no video games. And, and it was a black and white TV, and my mother had the novellas on. So we couldn't watch TV. On Sundays, we watched.
Actually go out and have fun.
We have to go out and have fun. So with me was I wanted to be a baseball player. I didn't live too far from Yankee Stadium, right? So I took a part in Little League. I went into junior, senior league. I made it all the way to Class A, but there was two things I really wanted in life. Is either to become Beretta or Starsky and Hutch or become Bucky Dent, Yeah. So apparently I sucked in baseball. So I said, you know what, let me try what I really wanted to do. Become a cop. Become a detective.
What age were you? Around that,
Well, listen, I started, my mother's... The streets was our babysitter. So I was out in the street at the age of 6, 7 years old, because my mother was upstairs and there was nothing we were crazy, 3 boys growing up in one house. We had a 3-bedroom apartment. How many times are you going to slide with socks after your mother waxes the floor and going to be playing baseball and break windows? Your mother say, mira muchacho, ¿qué tú estás fucking haciendo?
Yeah.
So I can say that, right?
Of course. Okay, cool, you ain't be real.
So after a while, my mom said, hey, go outside, go meet some friends, So I would go outside and meet friends and hang out with every kind of person there was, like kids.
But as at 7 years old, though, you had this idea already that either I'm going to play baseball professionally or be a cop like Starsky and Hutch.
Bro, I didn't even know how to clean my ass at 7 years old, bro.
But you said around that time you had a vision.
I was playing stickball and as I got progress in my ages. I said by the age of 14, 15, I started thinking about, hey, what am I going to do? Am I going to be? I want to be a policeman or I want to be a baseball player. Okay. So I tried to become a baseball player, but like I said, I wasn't good enough. So I said I'll do my second dream, become a cop.
Was your family supportive around? Because at that time too, I guess the whole crack epidemic and all those things. I feel like it was very
in the I grew up in the 70s, so crack didn't even exist. It was just heroin and marijuana. I remember the guys. Like I said, I lived on 167th Street in Walton Avenue, and I remember my father used to call it Tecato Point.
Yeah.
Because all the Tecatos used to hang out there, and they would be drooping and all this other stuff and combing their hair and wearing nice clothes. Because Tecatos always dressed nice, bro. If you ever noticed, they always were slick. They were. You notice that?
Yeah.
They were. They were lean, but they would never fall. So
they wouldn't mess up their clothes.
Right. But they just had the balance. You remember that? That was the way they were. So what ended up happening was, I grew up in 167th Street. I wanted to play baseball, so my mom, with all her little pennies, she would take me to play baseball. So we used to have to sell raffles to get a uniform. So we would sell the raffles, get the uniform, And then I used to have to play with sneakers because my mom couldn't afford the cleats.
Yeah.
So after a while, I would just, go rap. There used to be a Red Apple down the block on Jerome Avenue. And what I would do was I would go wrap bags, pack bags. And people give me quarters, dollars and everything. And I saved my money. That's how I got my first pair of cleats. And I said, let me become a baseball player. But then after a while, I started seeing that I wasn't that good anymore. Right. So I said,
reality set
right. I said, as I got older, I said, let me become a cop. And
what was the first step that you had to do? Then you had to register, go somewhere,
not get arrested.
Okay. So it's amazing because you was out there doing, exactly. You had your good friends, your bad friends, or whatever. So you managed not to get caught or whatever.
That's the thing. I can't watch it, but I gotta watch what I say here. No, I grew up in like I said, I grew up in a tough neighborhood. I did a lot of stuff as a kid.
Now, when you decided to take the step to become a cop, was a part of it, let's say, let me try to make a change in the community somehow, or it was a career-based thing for you? This is not working out. I'm just jumping into it.
Well, if you can't beat them, you got to join them. Number one. So the other thing is, it's a good job. It's benefits. You're not going to be rich, but when you retire after 20 years, you got a decent pension, medical. I see how my parents live. My father worked in a bodega. Rest his soul. He had no pension plan. My mother, she was a home attendant. She went to Hostess Community College. She got a degree there. And then, what she did, she became a home attendant. Living in a Puerto Rican environment and living in a Puerto Rican home, they fend for us. They gave us things, It was hard for them to provide for us. So whatever they could give to us, we took advantage of.
Yep.
Now, my thing is with what was the question again?
Well, no, the question was, basically, you have your mother and your father, right? They're teaching you, in hindsight, when you look back, hard work. They're busting their ass, providing, giving you all these things, and as a kid, we're looking at it as whatever, we're supposed to have these things. We're not even putting ourselves in their shoes.
No.
But in the end, one of the biggest lessons they are teaching you is this hard work to be good at something. You saw that as at the end of the day, they're busting their ass, but they don't have anything to fall back on.
No, they don't.
And then here you are as well, baseball ain't working for me. Ain't nothing to fall back there.
Not at all.
Let me go into the police force.
Right.
Now you get into the police force and I ask, was it something also because you want to make a change on the community, or was and you answered it was it was more career based, because I wanted something to fall back on that was a good job.
Exactly.
And that being said, what were some of the challenges you faced being in the force? Was it harder being a Latino cop, around that in that time once you was pretty much certified to become a cop?
Well, like I said, I went to the academy for 6 months. The first thing they did when I graduated from the academy, they put me in East Harlem on 119th Street to work in the 25th precinct. At first I was a Bronx guy. I never knew anything about Manhattan. All I knew that the rich people lived in Manhattan, and that was it. Because I grew up in Four Corners in the Bronx. And when I got the assignment to go to the 25th precinct, I didn't even own a car. I was married to my ex-wife, which I call her the Antichrist. So
we're gonna have her on the show next week.
I got the deal was I didn't have money. I didn't have money. So I would, with my ID, I'll get on the train, and I had my uniform pants and a jacket. I had my gun belt on. I didn't have a locker. So I would go and take the train on a Woodlawn, the 4 train, and I take it to 125th Street in Lexington, and I would walk several blocks. And I would go to the precinct, and I would just wait for my assignment for the day, and that's the way it was. But I didn't have a problem. I never had an issue. You get the guys that bully you, the older guys, they bully you. Oh, they call you rookie, they call you hairbag, they call you all these things. Because and being Latino, I worked in a Latino precinct because the 2-5 was Latino. It was mostly Latinos. There were Caucasians. There were a few blacks, but I never had an issue there.
Gotcha.
I got taught. Believe me, I got taught. And when I say that, they did a lot of things that made me the person I am today. Because, like I said, I grew up in the Bronx, but as a young adult, I grew up in East Harlem, working 19 years in the 25th precinct.
What was something that, to this day, that it was a valuable lesson that you learned about yourself doing the job that you're doing? If you look back and you see all the years that you put in, what was something that, the experience that you had that really taught you something about yourself? Because you're being on the force, you're learning from your colleagues, and you're learning from, at one point you was in the streets and you learned from that.
Yep.
Now you're in the force, they're teaching you something. But in hindsight, what did you really learn about yourself doing the job that you're doing?
Well, it made me a better person. I see things differently than the average person. My goals are different than a lot of people, and people, some people think that's being selfish in myself. I learned how to, I don't criticize anybody, and I don't critique anybody. I try to offer advice, someone like you do. If you can't take my advice, then there's not much I can do for you. But it made me a better person, because where I'm at today, I have grandkids. I have a good wife, your cousin. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I got good stepsons. Thank God my mom's around. I got a great, beautiful partner, Rosita, and I'm living life, and life is good.
One of the fascinating things, right? That I see is a lot of people don't put themselves in the shoes of a detective or a cop, right? We only see most of the time maybe one side. Me meeting you and getting to know you and having other friends that I know are part of force, when I see something from the media or whatever, I know how to divide myself into 2, right? I'm not going to just quickly jump into it. I am going to feel my human emotions and how things are being dealt with. But at the end of the day, it's a fucking tough job and shoes to fill to be on that side that you're on.
Of course.
So it's like an automatic on guard. Your senses are an automatic 1,000 million % for anything. This is not a rewind that you're gonna get a replay to go back. It's like, okay, we kind of fucked up there. So let's just like time out, go rewind, do something differently, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, being out there in the streets and knowing that like at any moment, God forbid, you're putting your life on the line. You have a beautiful family, beautiful kids. How does someone like you deal with that, waking up every day in the morning and says, I don't know if you think about it, but knowing and accepting this day could be my last, next week could be my last. How do you deal with those things? Do you think about it, or have you reached a peace with yourself like it is what it is?
Well, listen, shit can hit the fan anytime, any day, any second, bro. You're a cop or not a cop, civilian. You could be walking down the street and get hit by a freaking car, Listen, I get paid to do something that an average person doesn't want to do, all right? That bad guy right there just robbed that old lady and took her money. I'm the first one that's going to go over there and try to grab that guy, okay? My thing is, when it comes to doing my job, I'm good at it. Meaning, I have good people around me. I have self-discipline. I look forward to the next day. I don't think about getting hurt at work. I don't run like I used to. I'm not in the greatest shape of my life.
Right.
But I try not to get hurt because I'm smarter and wiser. And I surround myself with people that are positive and know that in certain situations, we can't go right in that door. We have people out there that will do it for us. Being a detective, what we usually do, we investigate cases. That's what we do. So uniformed members of the service are the guys in patrol. They'll get they're on the radio, they get in the radio, the 911 calls. They respond to every location, every crime. All right. My job as a detective, I'm sitting by my desk investigating a prior case right now. They get the call and say, listen, something happened. We need a detective to respond and get involved and give us advice. That's when we get sent in. So to be quite honest, to go out there and it got to be coincidental that I'm walking into something big. All right.
But prior to you becoming a detective, you was doing that.
Right. I was into anti-crime. I was in street narcotics enforcement.
So how did you manage it to, I guess, you don't think about it?
You don't. You
really
just
accept it and just don't think about it.
Right. That's part of the job.
You be smart.
That's your job. You get paid to do something that, like I said, the average person chooses not to do. Listen, being a cop is hard. And then getting criticized because you're doing your job and getting belittled because you're doing your job. Listen, we all ain't perfect, all right? We all ain't perfect. In my case, I ain't perfect. But I know that someone needs help or someone needs a question to be answered or someone needs directions. I'm going to try to help them. Now, if I can't help them, I'll tell them, I don't know the answer, and I can't help you. I'm sorry. And I'll try to figure out, hey, listen, maybe my partner, she knows the answer. She knows the questions to ask you. I'm not perfect, bro.
Right.
You know?
And how do you, because I think one of the biggest things you taught me as well, you were saying, Rick, there's good cops and there's bad cops.
Of course,
right?
Yes.
And I always looked at you as someone as a good human being. So if you're a good human being, that's what you're going to project into your work. Right?
Correct.
And in this world, you see a lot of negativity in the media and everything. Where it's going from the music and all that stuff. How do you not, and especially in the force that you're in, affect the person who and what you are? So for instance, if I'm, around people, actors, comedians, whatever, like doing comedy, I saw drugs all around me. I was never the type of person to do drugs. I saw where it led to. I grew up in Brownsville. I saw those type of things. So I stood away. I had my friends, of course, that, but I just knew something in me. Don't go that route. You already seen the examples many a times. You will get tested.
Of course. We'll get tested.
So, but how do you maneuver and not let that become who you are? From the negativity, from the media, maybe people you seen in that force doing things that you want to have done. How do you continue being who and what you are and not let that jade you? And be like, no, I'm Jerry. I know where my heart and soul is at. I'm going to continue on being this person. Maybe tough, because I'm getting tested. Sometimes, I might want to lash out on somebody or whatever. But it's not me. How do you maintain that? Number
one is upbringing. My parents. They show me self-control. I grew up in a nice home, good home. Like I said, my parents were very important to me. I grew up as a Catholic, so I did my communion confirmation. I went to school. I was around a lot of positive people. Now, working on the force, working in the NYPD, you're gonna have your bad apples. Right. I never seen anybody do anything corrupted.
Right.
Maybe somebody got hit a little hard, somebody got a little roughed up. That happens. But you never notice what happens that leads to that. Like the media, they'll take the word of a person that just got to the scene and seeing the cop roughing up the suspect, the subject, because she sees him putting the handcuffs on him and throwing him against the car and everything else. But they don't tell you what led to that. Like, meaning, maybe the cop robbed somebody. I mean, sorry, not the cop. I apologize for that. Maybe the subject robbed somebody. Maybe the subject killed somebody. Maybe the subject hit the cop. Maybe the subject molested a child. Maybe the subject was just intoxicated and belligerent and end up hurting somebody. Maybe he spit at the cop. Maybe he punched the cop. Maybe there's always reasons why the cop is doing something.
And I feel like it's sometimes it's even harder now to do you guys' job because the phones. The phones is always out. And prime example, I was at the grocery store last week, and this lady was robbed or got caught stealing Tide, right? So she was with someone, and it's going to all make sense now because the guy, the owner, comes and says, "I need to talk to you." She's already getting belligerent, crazy. He didn't put her hands on her. He just said, "Come to the office. I need to talk to you." She's going crazy. Blah blah blah. Don't put your hands on me. Making all these things. The person that was next to her, that was her friend, automatically started shooting the video from the perspective of her saying, "You hitting me, blah 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 blah." Now I'm online seeing this from the beginning to the end, but what he's going to post is the after effect.
Of course,
him getting aggressive because she got aggressive first,
right?
And saying that she didn't steal, but it's on the camera and everyone. So, is it? How difficult is it to do your job now? The phones are involved. I know for comedians and actors, you get annoying if you're doing your show. You see 20 million phones up. It's like, this is my act. Thank you. I want to take this on the road now. But what about just living in the moment? But it's different for you because all eyes is on you, all phones are on you, and they're not even getting, that honest perspective from the beginning, middle, end. Anybody can edit anything.
Right. Anybody can edit it. My thing is, listen. It's called self-control. You see a camera, You see somebody, you're getting videotaped. The main objective is for you to get out of there safely, and the person that you're arresting or you're attending to get whatever is needed for that person. Now, if it comes down to a person getting hurt, before that person, because that person is being aggressive towards the police officer, you're damn right that cop is going to do what he has to do to protect himself, regardless if that camera's there. You know what I'm saying? Because if the cop is getting beat up, the cop doesn't protect themselves, what's the next outcome? Take the cop's gun, kill the cop, I hate to say that, but listen, it's the
reality. It's the truth. You see it all the time. When you're working on these cases, how do you you don't take it home? You're wrapped in so many cases all the time. How do you not bring it home and be talk about it, vent about it, whatever it is? Maybe in the beginning it was probably tough. You want to save everything and try to beat everything, but then there's a point. There's just so much, and I'm only one person. How do you not dwell with that all the time? And the moment you walk into that door of your house, not even think about it or try to shut it off.
Well, it becomes regular to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It becomes regular to you. Yes, you bring your issues from work to your house. You bring it to the church. You bring it to the Girl Scout troop meetings. You bring it to the dance school. Every issue that you go through at work, it's always going to stay with you. But you have to learn how to control it.
How do you control it?
By controlling it.
Well, that's that easy. Yeah. So what was one? Don't talk about the case, but what was one example that I guess you had to really learn? Yo, I gotta control this shit. If not, it's just eating me inside.
Listen, like I said, Rick, I got close to 1,000 arrests, and it's not sounding like I'm bragging or anything, but I worked in a busy environment. I investigate cases. My thing is, I learned how to turn it off. All right, I could talk to Rosie, and I could talk to her. We shoot ideas regarding our cases. It also helps out that your cousin's a retired police officer. Mm-hmm. So if I need to ask her any advice about a case, I'll go over and talk to her. Mm-hmm. My thing is, I could shut it off like this. Okay. It's shut it off because I've been doing it right now. This week, I make 25 years doing this stuff. So I'm used to it. Versus a lot of the younger guys, maybe they're not used to it. I remember the first time I saw double homicide. I was 6 months on the job in 1994. And I was driving what we call the duty captain. Mm-hmm. And that day I was in my lounge in the precinct, sitting there, eating. And then next thing you know, they said, listen, kid, captain wants you got to go downstairs. There's a crime scene he wants you to go see. I said, fine. I was psyched, heart's pumping Kool-Aid, don't know what to do, because I'm brand spanking new. Mm-hmm. I get on the car, in the car there's a big gray Caprice, Impala, whatever you call that. It's a boat. So I get, and there's no bucket seats, it's just row seating. And I'm sitting there and the steering wheel is bigger than me, and this captain comes in, doesn't say shit to me, and tells me, take me down to 116 and Pleasant Avenue. I said, yes, Captain. So I'm like, how the fuck do I get from 119th Street to 116th Street in Pleasant? So I said, okay, there was no GPS in there. So I said, let me go up 116th Street, make that left, and then go east all the way to Pleasant Avenue, because I know it was right next to the FDR Drive. So I get there with the captain, and I see all these old Irish, Italian detectives there with fedoras, trench coats, smoking cigars, and they get there and there's yellow tape all over the place, and there's uniform guys there, and I see the social club there. Never been there, never saw that, because I've never been to that part of town. And all of a sudden, this big Irish detective with a big ass pot belly tells me, "Hey kid, your first crime scene?" And I didn't know what to say. And I said, no. Honestly, because I'm trying to be like the big cop. He says, come on, show you around. So now I'm walking into this crime scene. This is 1994. I'm walking into this crime scene. I see rounds, casings all over the place. Casings is the thing that holds the bullets. Yeah. And I see it all array around. There's no numbers. Do you like the guy on the modern little 1, 2, 3? No. What they did was they'll take little pieces of paper, they'll put it there, they'll put it here, they'll put a matchbox, they put whatever they did. That's how they did in '94. Mm-hmm. There was no number series. They would just put items. They'll put a cup. That's how they did it.
Cigar.
They put a cup. They'll put it right there. A lighter. That's how they did it. These old guys. So now I walk into this crime scene, and he takes me behind the pool table, and I see this guy laying down with multiple shots in his body, and I'm like, "What the fuck did I just walk into?" Mm. And this guy's smoking a cigar, and he's, they're making humor off this guy's death because these guys are already accustomed to death. Mm-hmm. So the way they handle death is by being humorous and joking about not. Literally joking about the dead person, but having a good time talking about the case. Yep. Right. So now he tells me, I want to show you something else, kid. So now I'm walking around the pool table, and there's a little bathroom. So he opens the door, and he couldn't open the door. So he forces the door open, and he sees this guy behind the toilet trying to duck. They shot him in the back of the head, bro, and his eyeball. He caught his eyeball.
Oh my God!
Caught his eyeball. Okay, caught his eyeball. Damn. Now you see the freaking tripas and everything coming out of this bitch.
I would have threw up. They would have made fun of me.
So I look at this shit. I'm like, what the fuck did I just got into? Now it's coming from a kid.
Yeah.
Because I was 27 years old when I got on. You're talking about a kid that to this day I hear the theme song of The Exorcist. I still fucking bug out. Okay? I still bug the fuck out. So now I walk in and I see these two guys dead. I don't know. I don't know. Remember how they look. I don't remember it because I try to black that out. So I walk out of there and I'm numb, and I sit there and I lean on the car, and then the captain goes, "All right, kid, get in the car. Take me back to the precinct." So I go back to the precinct. I get back up. I take my food out of the refrigerator. I fucking start eating cold food. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what the fuck did I just saw? So now I sign out. I go home because I had to take the train because I don't have a car. So I take the 4 train. After I see all this bullshit, I take the 4 train, right? So I get off of Woodlawn, I'm walking, talking to myself. I'm like, what the fuck did I just see? So now I go home. And I go take a shower, and then I was married to the Antichrist at the time.
Okay.
So I explained to her what I just saw. She didn't think nothing of it because it didn't really bother her or nothing. Yeah. So for those 2 weeks, it's like I couldn't really deal with it. It was like eating me up alive, like what I saw. But I was young on the job.
Right.
What I saw was horrific.
Hell yeah.
The average person cannot see that. But I saw that. And it took a toll on me in the beginning, yes. Mm.
But you just, I guess, to ease the memory of it, of course, you're going to get more experience with it. But did you, I guess, in that time, like you said, talk to your other partners or somehow vent, or maybe just vent to yourself to be like,
That's when I learned I could talk to myself, bro.
Gotcha.
Because you, as a young cop, you didn't know who to go to. Mm. You didn't have really partners. You worked in, you 8 guys got out the academy.
So the best partner that you became friends with was yourself.
Yes.
By just talking to yourself, accepting what you just saw, and being honest. That was your moment between you and the partner within you. Like, all right, man. Correct. And then, I guess by doing it more, I won't say desensitive. This. I guess I'm just cut you off from that world. It just. You just accepted the reality of it and I guess build up a reality shell of like, well, I'm going to see this next week. I'm probably going to see it after that and just keep talking about it within myself.
But to this day, still things bother me, bro, when it comes to, not now, when I was, as I got older on the job and I got into the detective bureau, there was another incident, bro. So it still keeps me, it stays in my mind. Don't think it doesn't.
Right. Okay.
It still stays in my mind. There was one day, there was a patrol responded to a department. And when they responded to the department, they found a person dead. Now, the whole shit was that this person was dead for several weeks. So now, they call the detective squad. We get there. And as soon as you get off the elevator, you smell the death. You smell it. So I see the cops, they got stuff tucked in their nose, they're covering their mouth. I'm walking in there, I got a suit on, right? I walk in, I'm like, oh, fuck. So I go into the apartment because I got to make sure there's no foul play. So I go into the apartment. This guy, he died of natural causes. Mm-hmm. He had a bunch of medication on the side, but he was butt naked when he died. Now, you know what happens to the body when you die and you don't get the proper, right? It swells up. Oh, so EMS is there. They got to move him. So you have liquids coming out of all crevices of the body. But the thing that and it's funny, the thing that I remember from that incident, from that particular job, was his nuts.
His nuts was so huge.
Big.
He died from blue balls.
No.
He was about to come, he just died.
He was so decomposing that he was so swollen that his body has changed. He didn't look like the person he was originally. He was so swollen that his nuts was as big as his belly.
Damn.
And his penis was swollen and was hanging off. Like,
what the fuck?
And I was like, what the fuck? I never saw that. I never saw that in my life. Never saw it. And that bugged me the fuck out too.
Because to this day, you forever have his dick in your mind.
There you go. No, you know what and you know, Rick, bro, that dick stays with me forever, bro. But to be honest, bro, I don't want to die alone, bro. That's the deal. That man was alone, and he died alone, and that was sad. And that killed me more. That ate me alive.
Wow.
That ate me alive. That's why you always gotta look for people, regardless. You gotta always have people around you.
And I think one of the biggest things, I agree with you, and I think one of the biggest things that you touched on, I think a lot of people, not only in any type of hard working environment that you work in or your own life, I think being honest with yourself and talking to yourself about that. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that maybe will fly over people's heads, right? Because we're taught to keep things inside, not to vent or whatever. But you know, whether you was alone, you took those moments to be like, yo, I saw a big ass swollen dick, big ass swollen nuts, and made me feel some type of way. Like, you know,
it bugged me out, bro.
But you continue to be honest in every scenario. You know, you build a trust within yourself,
of course,
with that partner, and saying that it's gonna be fine. We're gonna get through it, and you just learn how to live through it. You may not forget certain things, but you learn how to just live through it. I want to ask, like, how do you not I guess by you being used to seeing so many things out there, how do you not allow that to desensitize, like did not made you still feel like, you know, like every time you have a new case, not looking at it as like whatever, another case, I'm not gonna allow this to affect me. Probably along the road you probably have those type of cases, but how do you allow yourself to still feel and treat these cases with the respect that it needs? You know, because there probably are a lot of cases that may be similar to other ones, but you just don't want to put, like me at work, I'm not gonna just like everything I get just like whatever, scratch it off and like it is what it is. How do you still allow yourself to have the compassion to still feel for these cases when you get them and not scratch them off another chart on the
listen, we're all guilty as detectives and cops. You know, we all get cynical. You know, we run into certain people, and some people are honest, some people are not honest. Some people, you know, they bend the truth, some people don't bend the truth. Some people are victims and some people are not victims. Some people are just complainers. You know, people are just not satisfied sometimes, you know. My thing is, you know, as a detective or a cop, and you as a person, you know when somebody's truthful. So, yes, some cases are you going to look at and say, okay, here we go again. Now I got to put the pieces to the puzzle together because this person doesn't know what happened to that person. You know? Then you get the case that this person was physically assaulted, hurt, and then you say, yeah, this is the case that I earned to work. This is what I want to do. This is my purpose, to work and find out the truth. Give this lady or this male or this kid what they deserve is justice, you know? But then you get the cases that, because the person doesn't like the other person, or the person hurt his feelings or her feelings, they feel they have a vendetta and they want to put this person on record for something that shouldn't a police officer or a detective be dealing with.
Right.
Because it takes away from the real victims and the resources that we could provide for the real victims.
What has fatherhood brought to your life, and maybe has helped your career in a sense too? Maybe it made you into a even better person. So what has fatherhood brought to you?
Well, I still feel like, I became my father. Okay? I'm strong. I try to discipline my kids the right way. I'm supportive. I'm proud. I'm a good provider. It makes me the person that I think my father, my mother will be proud to see now. That I become.
What advice would you give to other people that may be interested, becoming a cop and then probably going up the ranks and stuff like that? And, or even as if you would see the picture of yourself, if you would see the image of yourself at 17, what would you tell yourself? What advice would you tell yourself in that moment about to take that step to be a cop? And everything that you know right now.
You have to be built for this, number one. That's number one. You have to be built for this. You have to be serious. It's like you mentioned before. It's a matter of life and death when you put on that uniform. You're going to deal with a lot of diversity. You're going to deal with a lot of people. Everybody you deal with is not a bad guy. Listen, I've been doing this job for 25 years, and I think in my career I only have one civilian complaint because I hurt someone's feelings.
Really?
Yeah. That's I remember that. But to do this job, you have to sacrifice a lot, and your friends of today, not your friends of tomorrow, and you have to realize that. You move on in life, and in the long run, it pays off to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. And if you get your 20 years in or 20 plus, and you retire, and you can enjoy your pension and live comfortable, that's the name of the game.
I think one of the most beautiful things to me, you have been through so much, from how you started, the environment, the challenges you faced that you saw being a cop, then going through the ranks and being successful, have your ups and downs. But what I get from this, that it hasn't affected you in a way that has tarnished who and what you are. No. And I think, if anything, you have gained so much from it. Not to say that you don't have your moments at a job. At the end of the day, it's a job, right?
Right.
But it hasn't tarnished your soul to turn black and to treat everyone horribly. At the end of the day, like you said, I'm Jerry. I'm a human being. I make mistakes, but I know where my heart is at.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a good person. And that came not from the force. That came from how I grew up.
Right.
And how I was living life. And to me, that is a beautiful thing, because that's no matter what you go through in life, whether it's this job or the people that you meet in life, you will always get tested, and there was always different roads and choices you can make that can make you take a step back.
Right.
And sometimes it's okay to take a step back. Just make sure you keep going forward and learn from why you took that step back. But I think it's just a beautiful story to know, and I'm super proud of you, right? I'm gonna say that because it hasn't fucked up the person you are, because it's hard, like you said, to do this fucking job. It's hard.
It is.
And I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I would have threw up at that dick that's so swollen. I would threw up with that eye. I think I would have just keep the pension. I don't think I'm gonna make it for 20. I don't know if I made it 3 hours right now. You can keep that. It just made me appreciate the people that are doing the job to the best of their ability, that we don't give credit for. We only want to jump at the negative, right?
Yes.
What we just see. But there's another side, and I hope that with this conversation, people can make that connection. All right, whatever I saw, it is fucked up, but let me see the other side.
Right.
Let me look at the bigger picture too. You know, the person on the line has a life. The victim, whatever, also has a life. And let's try to make things, in a sense, peaceful. That it doesn't have to go where we lose this time on Earth for something dumb or chaotic.
Right.
So Jerry, we got to know you now as a human being, as a cop, detective. You brought us on this whole journey now, and I thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
And now we're gonna go into one of the first segments of this interview, and it's called "Let's Look Inside." The first question for this segment is there a meaning to life? If so, what is it to you? You don't gotta give like this whole explanation, but if you just take a moment, is there a meaning to life? And if so, what is it to you?
Yeah, there is a meaning to life. I never thought about that, but there is a meaning. I've looked at that. But there is a meaning to life. And life is what you can make out of it, you know? Life is what you can go forward with and provide for everyone else. You have to set an example. That's what life is about for the ones coming behind you. And then they have to set the tone for the other ones coming behind them.
The second question.
Was that good?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, shit.
There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. What
good.
you felt is what you felt. That was good.
Yeah.
The second question for the first segment. If you could teach everyone in the world one concept, what concept will have the biggest positive impact on humanity?
Sounds corny, man, but let's just get along, man.
It's not corny at all, because by getting along, this solves so many things. You know,
just get along.
By getting along, you're showing love and compassion. You're different, I'm different, what it is, but we both bleed the same thing.
Yeah, let's get along. Let's just keep it real, you know. Stop the fighting. Stop the nonsense. Stop the hatred. Let's just live life and we're supposed to live, you know.
Awesome. The next segment of this interview is called Words from My Spiritual Teacher, Guru Enlightenment. Everyone knows that I have a spiritual teacher that I learned about spirituality, which is about believing yourself and knowing that you came here with a purpose and not wasting time. You have these beautiful tools that you came with and to follow your journey. She teaches workshops, she teaches one-on-one sessions. They're all free, and you guys should have checked her website by now, and all her information will be in the description. In this segment, I share something from her, either from a book or from a website, her writings, so people can get an idea of what she does. This one is from her website, and she put, "Be wise and allow yourself to gain knowledge, patience, and kindness. Open your heart to love. Open the door that awaits you. Try to understand yourself and others." How do you feel hearing that?
I feel that gives you a purpose. You know, it makes you wonder. It makes you think. It makes you believe.
I think for me as well, it describes, in a sense, your journey with this job that you took on. You have to be wise. Like you said, I got to be smart. I can't just jump in and put my life and everybody else's life in jeopardy. I have to be wise with that. I have to allow myself to gain the knowledge and the patience and kindness. And what we touched on, you didn't allow that world to jade you and the force to be something that you wasn't when you came into this world. Right. You learned from that. It taught you, in the sense, patience and the kindness. And at the same time, you said it before, you know, you show love to people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's good guys, bad guys. You give everybody a opportunity to reveal themselves, and you just don't judge his book by his cover right off the back. Even though it may look something like what it is, but you're still gonna talk to the person and see until you connect the pieces.
Right.
So in a sense, at the end of the day, to me, this resembles you, because in the last line it says, "Try to understand yourself and others." Those moments when you saw those fucked up things. You were understanding and took the time to understand yourself and being, like you said, I was talking to myself.
Of course.
And by doing that, you put yourself in other people's shoes too. You try to understand what's around me.
Yeah.
So that's what I got from it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Jerry, man, you're gonna be sad, but that is the end of the Win podcast.
Oh no, I had a great time, man. That was
I just
nice.
want to say, man, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, to share your story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone at your job says good job or whatever, because I don't know, but I just want to say, great job what you're doing, man. And
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for being a brother to me, a friend to me as well, and the family, and supporting me. That comes first. And thank you for doing what you do out there, you and your partner, as well, doing what you guys doing out there with a great heart to make things better for everyone out there. It's a very tough job that not everyone will take on or don't want to do. So I want to thank you for doing that.
No, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for having us in the show, man. Having me in the show. It's a great show, and I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of yours.
Thank you for checking out the episode. Please help us out by subscribing to our podcast, writing a review, sharing with a friend, or leaving a comment. Thank you. This will help us so much.